That will take us to public comment. Those wishing to speak must state their name and address for the record. After they acknowledged by the board chair, each person will be limited to 2 minutes to make his or her remarks. Speakers will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioner. The board may not take action on an item presented during the public comment period unless the item is already on the agenda for action. When appropriate, the board may refer inquiries and items brought up during the public comment period to the county administrator for follow-up. Public comment.
Roger Wynick, School of 6465. Shortly after I noticed the recent article in the newspaper about expanding the county landfill, I was at a church brunch. A brunch with all landfill-ready utensils. A brunch where I brought my real cup, plate, and silverware. A brunch where I sat across the table from a county commissioner, to which I was tempted to point out the landfill load. For convenience, we developed extremely wasteful habits that we're pretty much unaware of. I'll start landfill waste awareness by classifying waste. Many plastics, foams, and styrofoams are not recyclable and have a significant fossil fuel footprint. Metals, glass, paper, and cardboard are recyclable. Paper and cardboard in the landfill undergo anaerobic digestion to produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas. Grass clippings, leaves, branches, and wood are compostable. In the landfill, these organic materials also undergo anaerobic digestion to produce methane. When I moved to Owatonna in 1975, it was common practice to put grass clippings, leaves, branches in the landfill. Something that still happens today, because besides the garbage fee, some don't want to pay a composting fee. Let me suggest the county board have the county administrator calculate the increase in recycling fee to provide a no-fee compost site. Then call a town meeting or town meetings to discuss having a no-fee compost site. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Anyone else? What?
He's man, you want
That's fine.
follow him over here. I don't have anything prepared, but my name is Casey Kamholtz, and I am here on behalf of the Homestead Hospice House here in town. I'm the current president of the board of directors. There's 12 community members. Pat Beretta is one of the other members here. We have numerous members of the community who are with me in spirit here. I'm before you tonight with a little bit of a problem. I think maybe one of you might be aware of it, but when Alina closed the house, their operations, it put us in a situation as landlords in a limbo, and we decided to try to end the lease with Alina and get a new operator in there, a new tenant, if you will, in there. What happened in the meantime is the paperwork didn't get to the assessor's office in time for a nonprofit. There's a lag in there. Anyway, long story short, gentlemen, our property taxes took a bit of an increase. They went from approximately $600, $700 to $55,000, which is a pretty significant increase in our property taxes. I think going to the assessor's office and finding this out was a shock to our whole board, and we didn't really know where to come for solutions, answers. How do we resolve the situation? The good news is we're going to reopen the house this summer. We're 99% sure, this close to signing a lease with Seasons Hospice. That will start real soon. But in the meantime, this tax is due in 2025. If the paperwork, which will be filed by July 1st of 2025 now, by Seasons Hospice as a nonprofit, just as we are, they will revert back to the old rate. The actual 5 acres that the Homestead House sits on is no taxes for a nonprofit, but there is an easement of 2 acres for a path that goes around it and connects to the hospital path. Those 2 acres are taxed, and Alina under the old lease paid that $600–700. We're in an unusual situation as a board of directors. But we come before you to seek guidance on how to resolve this problem. I believe what has happened is the assessor's office could not do anything but reclassify the building as commercial property. So our facility experienced a huge tax jump. And really, that's all I'm here for tonight, is to let you know that we're looking for you guys to figure out how can we come to some sort of solution. Don't know. I can assure you that the paperwork is on the executive director of Season's desk and will be filed by July 1 for 2026 taxes to revert back to what they were. But in the meantime, for 2025, come first of, middle of May and middle of October, we're going to have to do something. And we're pleading for some kind of relief, because it's hard enough to run a house that loses $500,000 a year than have to pay an extra bunch of taxes on it. And we are a nonprofit, by the way. I will point out, we have no income coming in. We've got some fundraising going on, but it's an asset to this community in this area that we want to see back open. It's a little bump in the road, and I'm here tonight to see what we can do to smooth this bump out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that forward. I was unaware of that. Any other public comment?
I'm Scott Sorensen. I'm here to talk about the Havana intersection project. I'm a third-generation owner of a family farm on Havana that will be severely impacted by the proposed plan. 2 weeks ago, we had a township meeting. State Senator Jasinski came down and made some recommendations of how the plans could be modified slightly and not destroy 3 separate farms by putting the road right through the farm and destroying the farmland. And I'm just here to let you know that I'm working with John, and we will be submitting a plan for consideration soon.
Good. Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Melissa Zimmerman, 2525 Stony Creek Drive. As I'm sure you're aware, our neighborhood put in a substantial public data request, our only means of transparency that we have long asked for. It has now been 112 days, and we continue to face denied access, lack of response, inaccessible data, and outright refusals despite state recommendations to provide rolling data. Nearly a month ago, we were told the next batch of data would be ready within a month. Today, we were told it would be several more weeks before the county will even look at our request again. Inaccessible files have not been fixed in 2 months. Chapter 13.03 of Government Data Practice Law requires that data be provided within 10 days. We are now approaching 4 months since our request and 2 months since the first round of data was provided. How is this in compliance? Despite these obstacles, we have reviewed every document available and uncovered several critical issues. The noise wall vote. Some time ago, I spoke with Peter Wasco, who strongly recommended education for elected officials and residents on noise impacts and the noise wall process. This is routine in these kinds of projects and should have started at the beginning, yet it has not been provided. Why? Emails confirm that Paul is aware of this process. The noise wall decision rests solely with residents, requiring as few as 4 houses and at most 12 houses to vote in favor of a noise wall. I hope last week's attendance proved that our support has not faded, but rather has grown. So please hear me. We are prepared to vote for a noise wall. Even WSB admitted they would vote for a noise wall if they were in our situation. The 2-road narrative. Paul stated it would be tricky to prove 29th Avenue is consistent with the official map corridor because residents were pushing through 34th Avenue, and in his own words, 34th Avenue was mapped and preserved for an inner corridor. He then sought a way to justify both roads, creating a 2-road narrative with no supporting data for 2 roads at $30 million. The justification for 34th Avenue, when alternatives 4 and 5 were being eliminated, Paul questioned the justification and wrote, "It's based on a fairly minor difference in vehicle count and trip time or distance. Do we really need 2 roads for minor differences?" The answer is clear. 34th Avenue remains the best, safest, and most fiscally responsible option. Email now Emails now made public further confirm this. Can we stop playing games and start working together, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening, Matt Senate, 2519 Stony Creek Drive. Here to talk about a joint transportation committee that nobody was aware of until just last month. And when we found documentation that this committee has been meeting perhaps as early as 2020, for sure, records show at least 2022. Yet meetings were never disclosed to the public. When we asked the county where we could find meeting minutes in the schedule, we were redirected to the county attorney and told all future correspondence need to go through him. Not sure why this is a legal matter. Seems to me like it's a public matter. 2 weeks later, we still have no response. This appears to violate open meeting laws since at least, like I said, 2022, particularly since this committee is making important decisions, as indicated on many internal documents now made public. The public has a right to attend these meetings and access meeting minutes without having to go through an attorney. I was glad to see the open meeting law was a part of the discussion here today at the workshop at 4 p.m. I arrived at 4, it wasn't discussed, so I'm assuming it was discussed prior to 4. But that was good that that was part of the discussion. I'm assuming that that was part of this whole thing being made public. I recall us back to the core values of the county as published in the workshop documents. Number 1, teamwork. We serve the public best with collaboration, coordination, and community partnerships. Number 2, positivity, forward thinking. We do our work with an open mind and constructive approach. Number 3, respect. We are eager to serve, friendly, helpful, and kind. Number 4, accountability. We are fiscally and professionally transparent and responsible. And number 5, integrity. We are ethical, honest, and reliable. My personal challenge would be that we ensure that all of these core values are put into place with the things that we're talking about here tonight and every other county meeting when we come and talk. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Hearing none, we will move on. Thank you, everyone.